Welcome to Opinion Havers, a movie podcast for Spy Kids alumni. I'm Cody.
And I'm Tyler.
What? Tyler, what?
What? Spy Kids alumni?
Did you not spot the actor in this movie that's from Spy Kids? Are you even a Robert Rodriguez fan?
Is it the one? It's the one guy.
The total narc, just like, you know.
Oh, I know.
Cast your mind to the beginning and end of the movie.
Bryan Cranston.
Okay, we remake Spy Kids.
Oh no!
Okay, but Bryan Cranston is both the siblings.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the little boy. Spy Kids.
Yeah,
who's married to some pop singer, Meghan Trainor. I think I want to say. I think so.
We watched John Carter.
We watched John Carter. See, I was gonna move on past it, and you were like, "What?"
I needed to know. Now I'm looking up who's this dude married to, and it's your fault. You did this to us.
I think Bailey shared this fact with me like 4 different times. I'm pretty sure.
Sounds like Bailey. Who's Martin Strong married to, though?
I don't know.
You don't even know. It's an unknowable fact.
Did you find your proof?
I found it. It's Meghan Trainor. Yes, it is Meghan Trainor.
I don't know the name of the actor, but I know that he's married to Meghan Trainor and he was in Spy Kids.
His name is Daryl.
Daryl. I don't know why. Daryl to me is like a strong name. Like if your name's Daryl, you're kind of bigger. You're built a little big.
Is it from The Walking Dead?
Like the littlest kid with the curliest hair. I'm like, oh no. Your name's not Daryl. Like, Daryl is not a child's name. Daryl is like end of his teenage years to his early 40s. Like you can be 18, you can be 40. You can't be any younger or older than that if you're Daryl. What'd you find?
It's just a picture of them. Tell me this does not look like a we're going to prom photo or something like that. Like, this is 2 children.
No, it looks like they've been going to prom every day for the last 30 years, and that's their curse. like we have to go to prom every day. We, didn't stop for a gypsy hitchhiker and she cursed us.
They look like 2 high schoolers.
Yeah.
They don't look like adults. But yeah, they are married, just so you know.
Okay. So this is your thing.
Yeah.
You chose this for us. Do you want to tell us the plot of John Carter?
The plot of John Carter. Cody. I mean, where to even begin with the plot of John Carter? It's a dude who he was a former cavalry captain, Civil War. What's his name? Nobody knows. It's John Carter. And
let me tell you what I was hoping this movie was. Yeah. It started and I was like, Jean Cartier. We're gonna learn about the family that started the Cartier jewelry dynasty,
Uh-huh.
And then it was about this cavalryman. I was like, well, this is dumb.
Yeah, he goes to
like
Mars,
this could have if you just changed it from John Carter to Jean Cartier, then automatically this would be a Cody movie,
Uh-huh. What if they went to Mars in that movie though?
Now it's yours. Now it's a Tyler movie. It's Tyler's trash.
Cody, this is based on one of the most classic sci-fi novels of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying you're not about it.
Well, now you're asking me about my opinion. All right. And look. All right. I'll just tell you my first impression of this movie.
Yeah.
Number 1, it was bad. Number 2, it was one of the rare times that I've seen a bad sci-fi movie. And I was like, this could have been so good. Like the source material did shine through at moments where I'm like, oh, you know what? I actually want to read this book because I feel like it would be very good. Like I've read at least 5 Robert A. Heinlein books. Like I'm about like the early, the 20th century sci-fi. I'm about it. All right. There's a lot that I like. And I was just sad the whole time because I was like, this could have been so good. And I bet the book is really good. But it didn't deliver for me. So that's where I'm at. which is pretty. It doesn't happen often. This movie gave me Jupiter Ascending vibes and Mortal Engines vibes, which I'm sure are based on good books, because why would you make a movie out of a book that isn't good? But those two, I was like, these books sound dumb too. This one, I was like, actually, this book sounds pretty good. It's a bummer it didn't turn out better. Your thoughts?
Yeah. What did you have more? What did you say at the very end of that?
I said your thoughts.
My thoughts.
I want to hear your.
Okay. I mean, I picked the movie. It's Tyler's Trash, which the whole basis of it is they're bad movies that I like. I mean, famously to anybody, all the 12 people that will ever listen to the previous episode, I was fully prepared to let you skip this movie, to remove it from the list and just be like, nah, I wasn't excited about it. Watching it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm glad we did this one.
Yeah.
Because I was reminded that I do like this movie. It's a good film. It's an epic. It's like, you know, Star Wars, the upcoming Dune movie, all these things, get out of the way. John Carter's here. But like all the movies, it's tragic that it's not as good as it could be, right? Yeah. You know, like all the trash movies. Because like
waste of a good source material.
Like this guy who wrote the Princess of Mars and the Barsoom series.
Is this the guy who wrote Tarzan? I think I might have saw that.
Is it the guy? Same guy who wrote that?
I thought I saw that somewhere.
I'll look it up. But
Tarzan wasn't a Rudyard Kipling one, right? Or is Tarzan Rudyard Kipling? It's hard.
I don't know. Don't know. Good. Oh, don't know. Super don't know. This book was written by Edgar Rice Burroughs.
What did he write?
Well,
I know he wrote A Princess on Mars.
He wrote the Barsoom series, which the first of them is The Princess of Mars, which I started to read. It's so old now, you can get it for free.
Wow.
It was written in 1912.
Okay, cool.
So he is what the like guys like Frank Herbert and Robert Heinlein. They grew up reading his books. So you could see like how this book like influenced things like Dune, which then would go on to like influence like Star Wars. You know, so he's kind of credited as like the guy who started, and this story is like one of the original 20th century sci-fi things.
Yeah. Like
he was like, what if they were flying around in ships? And he's like, they ride light like we ride waves. And everybody's like, dude, you came up with helicarriers 100 years before Avengers.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I have, for the little bit of the book I've read and what I've heard, the story of the book is a lot. Parts of it, most of it people will like better, but I think there are parts of it probably that people wouldn't like as much just because it's old, cheesy sci-fi.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure John Carter either isn't in the book at all, or he's like just some doof in the background to be like the voice of the reader, like the dumb dude that's running around, and the princess, I think, is the main character. But overall, the movie itself, I like it. I think it's a fun popcorn movie. You watched it on Disney Plus like a coward, didn't you?
Why?
Because I own this movie. I bought it. I paid money for it.
I was ready to go to your thingy, but my Roku destroyed all my channels for some reason. And also I was like, oh, it's on Disney Plus. I'm going to watch it on Disney Plus. But now I know that's not always the right thing to do because of the Star Wars debacle we ran into.
Where they changed stuff. Added stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you would be wrong. This is not a good movie.
You're right.
It did have a lot of it did have a lot of potential. And my goodness, I just kind of want to rush through my movie notes because this is one of the movies where I read all the trivia for. I was like, what happened? So I like read it all, and it is fast. Like the production of this movie is fascinating, and I have so much to talk about there.
I'll be glad because I have some theories about the production that I'll be interested if you found anything on.
Oh, so, I found a lot. We're gonna get into it.
Let's get on our like light skiff, I think is what they're called. Our little scooter.
Sure.
Let's ride the light, Cody.
Okay.
Into Spoiler Town.
Okay.
USA.
We're in Spoiler Town. this movie starts on Mars, and it there's a battle, and we're like, here, kind of foreshadow here's going to be the bad guy, blah blah blah, right? Probably. At least that's my first note. So
yeah.
Whatever. Anytime there's a moving city, it's a bad sign for your movie.
What?
It's just true. It's mortal. It's the curse of the mortal engines. Okay. I saw the moving city. And I was like, oh no, here we go. Here we go.
We lost a lot of friends that day watching Mortal Engines, didn't we?
Yeah, but
we were insufferable.
That was one of the best times I've ever had watching the movie. That's the same crew that made me watch Jupiter Ascending as well. So at some point I thought they'd learned their lesson. They never did.
Haven't you and I watched Jupiter Ascending together twice because of them?
No, I've only seen Jupiter Ascending once.
Oh, I've seen it 2 or 3 times because of them, I think.
It's so bad.
It's not good.
It's one of those movies I think they realized it wasn't as good as they thought because of my reaction to some of the things, Sometimes you just sit and enjoy something. It's like, okay, I can go and watch an indie movie and appreciate it for what it is. But if I'm watching with someone else, I'm always nervous. I'm like, oh crap, they're going to hate this. And then I'm thinking about their reaction to what they're watching, So I enjoy it less. And I feel like that's who I am for people that like these kind of movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That time we watched it together, because I remember when they were picking the movie, and they're like, Jupiter Ascending. I was like, don't. You were in the kitchen, and I was like, don't. Cody will be insufferable the entire movie. And they're like, no, it's fine. He can get over it. I was like, he won't. And I was like, just thinking to myself, I was like, he's going to be the worst, and I'm going to join in. I'm not going to make it better. And it was so bad. Yeah. I don't remember anything. I don't remember watching the movie. I just remember looking at you a lot.
I remember one thing about watching that movie, and that is if you watch Jupiter Ascending with surround sound, there's like this scene where the dude's in like a floating orb of like ladies. There's like a weird orgy thing. And the surround sound is just like moaning in 360 degrees all around you. And I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever sat down for. I couldn't handle it. And no one ever knows what I'm talking about because nobody has seen Jupiter Ascending in my living room with a speaker right behind your head. So anyway. So this movie starts on Mars, and it's like the dude, and there's obviously some sort of alien guy who's like, look, here, I'm going to give you the super advanced whatever weapon, and you'll rule. And he's like, Mark Strong is like, you will rule all of Bassoon. Barsoom. But I said, Bassoon is the instrument, right? Because I couldn't get that out of my head the whole movie.
Yeah.
I was like,
bassoon.
Yeah. I was like, here's your bassoon. Like, that's all I thought every time they said it. I was like, oh, here we go. But it's not. It's their name for Mars. So that's fine. That's the foreshadowing. Great. Then we skip forward to Earth. There's a little spider up there. I don't know if you freak out about spiders, but now you know it's there.
What do you want me to do with the spider? What do you
I don't need you to do anything. It's by you. It's your prerogative. If you need to pause and get it, or need me to get it, I can get it.
Cody, I want you to get the spider.
All right. Ready?
Yeah. I just want to see you be strong for me. Also, I just muted your mic. I didn't pause it to see you now.
Okay, well.
How do you feel now, murderer?
Look, I appreciate all of God's creatures. But what I cannot stand for is intruders.
I will not.
That is my policy. Okay?
Not harbor criminals.
I won't scoosh a spider in the wild unless it's in my tent. If it's in my house, same rule. All right, that's how it goes.
Yeah. I usually let them go because they eat all the mosquitoes.
That would be fine, but I'm married. I'm the spider scoosher, and I've accepted and embraced that role. As you can see, I'm very good at it.
Yeah. My wife usually tells me not to scoosh them. But if it's a big one that'll bite you,
right?
Those ones, they don't live. Here's what we have in our house every so often. I don't know how they get in. Stink bugs.
Really?
Yeah, big ones too, like the size of your thumbnail.
What's that about? Is it your new place?
Yeah. They'll just be walking across the ceiling every so often.
Here's what you need: an iguana.
Don't don't be like no wife, no pets, Cody. None. No. We have 2 Baby Yoda dolls, and that's enough. All right.
As much time as you have to.
Yes. I got her a remote control little guy with the wrist control thing for Mother's Day.
Oh.
So she has her little baby now. Mm-hmm. And you can set it to follow you around.
Oh, that's fun.
It is fun. You do hide and seek. Press the button. He turns around, counts to 10. You go hide, and he comes and finds you.
Oh, that's fun.
It's very fun.
Okay. So Daryl from Spy Kids is in this movie.
Yes.
And his uncle's lawyer's like, hey, thanks for coming. You were left in the will. Well, here's all the stuff your uncle left you. You were close, right? He was like, kind of? No? And that's fine. So it's sort of like a mystery. You're like, who's this dude's whatever. Then how do we get to John Carter? How do we get from there to John Carter?
He finds it's like
it's like his diary or something, his journal.
He gives him his journal that he wrote for him.
Spy Kids kid, his acting, I don't think has improved much from the Spy Kids movie. I was kind of just like, I don't buy that you're not Daryl from Spy Kids. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Here's what I'll say to rebut that. All right. You know what? To be good in this movie, you really just got to beat out Taylor.
Is that John Carter?
Yeah. Who somehow had a very successful career in the early 2000s, 2010s. Nominated 3 times for like Hottie of the Year in the Teen Choice Awards.
Oh, yeah.
That's the fact I found that you didn't.
What was he in?
Oh.
Was that, it's like TV, right?
He was in TV?
Yeah. What was
I'm trying to think because there's a movie that he's in that's he was in X-Men Origins. Oh, he's
in X-Men Origins. And so is the princess is from X-Men Origins too. She has a small role in it. Yeah, they're both in X-Men Origins. It kind of blew my mind.
But yeah, and then it's recently he was in 21 Bridges.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He was an American Assassin, which I get,
Yeah.
Was a movie that scored about the same as this one. It was like it's all right kind of movie.
Yeah. So we're learning about John Carter because Daryl from Spy Kids is reading his journal. John Carter's like off going about trying to find gold, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing about this guy, John Carter. He's putting on a Batman voice, right?
Nope.
It was driving me crazy because I'm like, this is not your real voice. And you know what? Later in the movie, he doesn't speak he starts very gravelly. He's like, my name's John Carter.
Oh,
and that's like the beginning. And then towards the middle, you're like, you're not even talking like that at all. And so it kind of drove me crazy. I was like, I can't take you seriously because you don't look like you speak like John Carter. Like that's not your speaking voice, right? It's driving me crazy.
You know who they should have had to play this role?
Who? No.
You know who?
Daryl from Spy Kids?
No. We need a guy
Timothy
who's
Oliphant.
No, we need a guy who we know can play a former Confederate cavalry captain. Who's the perfect person? That's right, the guy who plays Jasper in Twilight.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a very inconsistent accent, and we'd love him.
It would have been good. You know who actually was in contention or was considered for the role?
Timothy Oliphant.
Oh.
Because you said the name.
That would have been great. John Hamm. I don't know how you feel about John Hamm. I like him. I'm a fan of the Hamm.
Yeah.
I think he would have been good in it. I don't know. I can't decide if I want to, here's the problem. I want to get into the production details.
Okay.
But if I start, then I won't finish. And I'm like, oh, I should pepper him. I can't do it. I think we need to get through the movie and then talk about the production. Okay? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Take my hand. Or at least pretend. Yes. Here we go. All right. We're here. So John Carter's running about. he gets captured by the military, and the military's like, look, we need you to help us. We're fighting the Native Americans. They don't, whatever. And Bryan Cranston's like, please help. And John Carter's like, nope, I'm going to escape. And they're like, okay, we got you. Put you back down. Like, here's the thing. Here's what I know about. He goes to escape again. Which everybody jumps through a window at one point. He like beats everyone up at one point.
I did like that like whole thing of him constantly like, all right.
Yeah.
It's like
by the end, he's got like the bloody nose. It's like it's a napkin on his nose. He's like, all right.
They like throw him in a cell and they're like, now we got you now.
John Carter's like, I already served my country. I don't want to help you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I already served my country. You know, that's how he talks.
Yeah. But did you get it's very, I feel like a big part of it is that he was a Confederate cavalry captain.
Oh, okay.
This is post-Civil War, obviously.
So they're kind of picking on him.
But not so much picking on him. It's just like, you know, I don't know if you're aware, the South lost the Civil War. The Confederate States of America lost.
How come they have so many statues then? Explain
that.
They
got less statues now than they did last year, I'll tell you that. But so they, you know, but they lost, and a lot of people died. And his wife and child were one of those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, technically 2 people, but 1 entity.
Yeah. So they put him in a jail cell. And then, like, after a little bit, they're like, wake up the general, like, he's gone. He's got your horse. So John Carter's escaped. He's riding away. And 2 problems with this. Number 1, Native Americans come, and there's, like, a confrontation. They did, like, is it an offensive, like, classic Native American whoop? The whoop, the whooping, the yell, you know?
Yeah.
Is that offensive, would you say, as a white man?
As a white man? I thought the whooping was something the Apache did, but not. It's the howl is the thing that none of them ever did.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. It conjured into my mind where I was like, well, this is just a stereotype, but it's also like, you know,
a lot of those stereotypes were Apache stuff, I think.
Okay, and they do specify they were Apaches, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first problem. The second problem is he's riding away, and they're like, General, he's got your horse. And then they catch up to him immediately. I was like, didn't he have like a big head start?
He had a huge head start.
Didn't he take like arguably the best horse? If it's the generals, like,
yeah,
they caught right up to him. They must have noticed right away that he's. I was like, what is this?
He was going slow. He wanted to bait them into.
Yeah, and so John Carter has a chance to escape because there's the confrontation with the Apaches, and you know, of course, one of the soldiers lets a bullet fly before anyone was fighting, and so that caused the whole scuffle. Yeah. And instead of riding away, John Carter's like, oh, Bryan Cranston, he's in trouble. I gotta save Bryan Cranston.
Let everyone else.
And this is my problem with John Carter. You know how every hero, like, you know, classic heroes, they have some sort of tragic flaw, you know? Something where it's like, oh, you're a great hero, but, you know, here's your problem. You know, just like the Iliad or whatever, there's examples. John Carter's problem is he doesn't care about anybody, but he will risk his life to save anybody. Like, if anyone's, he's like, I don't care about anyone. I'm just gonna save myself. And then 2 minutes later, he's like, random person's in trouble. All right, I'll just get involved. That happens so many times in the movie. I'm like, oh, John Carter, either you don't want to be involved, but you keep involving yourself. You know?
Yeah,
it's too much. So
he's
anyway.
An anti-hero. He doesn't want to be the hero.
No, he's against heroes.
He's thrust into the hero role. He won't fight for anybody, but he'll fight for everybody.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's such a weird quirk to have.
Yeah.
So it's fine. They, you know, he and Bryan Cranston are away, and they can go to a cave, and then they're in the cave, and then there's like a random dude in a robe in the cave, and then he shoots the dude in the robe, and then he drops the thing, and boom, we're in Mars now. He doesn't know where, but he's in Mars. He gets transported. So now we're in Mars.
They're in
Barsoom.
Barsoom.
They went into the cave. Who went into the cave? Someone goes in the cave and he lights a match.
Yeah.
And then the match is burning for like
way too long.
Minute.
Yeah.
I was like, All right, I've led a match before, even like a good match. You got like 10, 15, 20 seconds.
But this is an old match, Cody.
Oh, yeah.
This is an 1800s match. Here's the thing about this book, right? Think about this, right? This takes place in like 1880 something, right? Isn't that what the time stamp?
Sure. Towards sounds about right.
The guy wrote the book in the early 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking about this like, oh, he wrote this book about so long ago. When he wrote it, it was fairly recent. It's like
if I wrote a book about the 80s now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the 90s.
Yeah.
Probably like closer to the 90s, I bet.
Yeah. The 90s were like 10 years ago, right?
Sure. Sounds about right. Sounds right to me.
Sounds right to a lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah. So he's in Mars now. And let me tell you, now he cannot walk. And I thought it was amazing. It was amazing because, okay, we've all seen moon things. We've seen people on moons and, you bounce and you float. This guy, I could not figure out why he was struggling to walk so much. Because it wasn't just like, oh, I'm floating too much or I'm too heavy. He was just like, he would start going up and then he'd like fly. It was amazing. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. But then he's like, oh, I can't walk, but I can jump 800 feet. So that's cool. Why was it so hard for him to walk? And why was he walking like he was?
Because he was trying to run. And those powerful, thick legs were just launching.
The physics were everywhere. It's too much. You enjoyed it, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So he 100%. Gets what? He gets into a scuffle with, is it an animal first or is it the Thark first that he encounters? Thark. Gets into a little scuffle, drops his medallion, leaves his medallion. I was like, bro, you just encountered an alien dude and you were transported somewhere else while holding. The one thing you got to do is hold the medallion. He just leaves it.
Yeah. He's not grabbing treasure at all. All right. It's like this guy is terrible at questing.
Yeah, he is. I would agree. He encounters the Thark, which are aliens.
Yes.
Martians, I suppose.
Yeah.
Barsoomians.
Yeah.
Barsamoids. Barcelonans.
Yes.
They have 4 arms, and they're tall, and they're green. And here was maybe my third favorite thing about this movie. Willem Dafoe is the voice actor for the main Thark guy. He crosses his arms with one set of his arms. The second set puts his hands on his hips. And it made me so happy. I was like, if there's one thing to change with the human race, it would be that I could cross my arms and do my hands on the hips at the same time. Oh, yeah. I was so jealous. I've never been so jealous before while watching a movie. It was so good. So let's see. The Thark are like, sweet, this dude can do some stuff. Let's take him captive. Do something with him later. They have their hatchlings, and so everybody gets a hatchling, and I think they assigned John Carter to be whoever's hatchling, so that's fine.
So I will say that I was just like scanning through the plot synopsis, right, of the book, and it seems like the book takes a much more how you would kind of expect it to take, where he's like, he goes there, he's like, what's happening? Kind of falls in with these people, gets adopted by them, rises in the ranks of their society, and then you introduce all of the other Martian stuff.
Yeah.
Which I feel like would have made the story better somehow. Had he had like a whole thing with them, this other stuff was happening over there, and then he got sucked into that after it was established. But he's like, okay, I get the rules.
I highly agree with that. I think there are a lot of differences in the plot. Like one of the things I read, I don't know how true it is, but I think in the book, they only like hint at the sort of the other alien species that's sort of interfering and giving the weapons to the dude.
Yeah.
But that's what I read, is like that's sort of hinted at, but I think that develops later in the series. Whereas in this, they're like, oh no, that's a main driving force of the story. And I was like, oh, that makes it so much more complicated. Because now you've got to have a human a human species on Mars, but there's two sort of factions that are like separate kingdoms or tribes or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you have the Thark, and there's one too many pieces going on. The kid from Spy Kids is in here somewhere. It's all over the place. So I did think that was one thing. I was like, oh, that would have made this a lot more.
Yeah, it is
simple.
It suffers from, because did you see how many books are in the series, the Barsoom series?
No.
It's 11 books.
Oh my goodness.
In the series.
Okay.
So it suffers from, well, we got to explain all this stuff. You know, it'd be like if you told someone to take all of Star Wars, we're going to take it, we're going to throw it in the trash, make the first Star Wars movie. And they're like, well, there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
Versus just like from nothing, make the first Star Wars movie. Don't explain anything because everybody will get it eventually.
Yeah. And I do think this movie had like aspirations of a trilogy or a series. And so that's what they were kind of trying to, let's set up a lot of it so that when this does really well in the box office, that we can do some sequels to it. So that yeah.
Did you look and see how it did in the box office?
I know it was bad. I think I saw the budget was somewhere around 250 million.
It says 306 gross, 360 net for the budget. So you guess assume it got some kind of something to make up that difference.
Yeah.
And then his box office.
Box office?
Do you want to hazard a guess? The net budget was $263.7 million.
What was the box office, like 400?
284.
That's so rough.
1 million.
That's so rough.
It's a Disney movie.
That's crazy. Well, the same thing kind of happened with The Lone Ranger too, right? Where it was like, let's do a huge budget. Everyone's going to love this.
I think so. And
Lone Ranger was a pretty big flop too.
Yeah, maybe made some money, maybe broke even.
Yeah.
But not. Wow. But yeah, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're with John Carter. There's all the alien babies who were like cuddling on him, which was fun. And then there's a space pit bull hanging out there, which I would probably say is my favorite part of the movie.
Yes,
is the alien dog thing that looks like a pit bull. It made me very happy. And it's a chunky, stocky boy that runs very fast.
So fast.
And so low. What I didn't understand is like he's jumping around. And then at one point they're like, oh, this is the dog guy. He'll follow you anywhere. When did they bond and why?
Well, here's what I think. You're supposed to have picked up on this, but it's not very well done, right? Is that he was one of the hatchlings. And this is the Nana dog.
Okay.
To protect the hatchlings.
Okay.
And then it saw him and it's like, screw the rest of these things.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. One thing I didn't understand. Okay. So the physics of his strength are confused. Because the beginning is like, I can't walk at all. I can jump. And then he's like, okay, now I got the walking thing down. No problem. I can also jump a lot. Okay. But he can also break chains. And that didn't make sense to me. Like, I understand that the gravity might be different. What I didn't understand is why he would be strong enough to break metal. Furthermore, later in the movie, he's not able to break chains as much. And sometimes he can kick a dude, like Wonder Woman kick a dude across the room. And then other times he's like, all right, then let me sword fight you. And it's like we're just normal dudes fighting.
Yeah.
So is he a superhero or not? Or is he just like Super Mario? He can jump good.
I think his strength comes
from break chains sometimes.
His strength, its whole thing is because you gotta remember, like the books, his strength in the books is based on their understanding in the early 1900s of Mars,
right?
And they're like, okay, gravity would be less intense on Mars, but how much?
Because is Mars the closest in size to Earth, or is that Jupiter?
Jupiter's a lot.
Jupiter's bigger.
Way bigger.
Is it Venus that's closest to Earth then?
I think Venus is, yeah.
Okay, so Venus is really similar to Earth. Mars is smaller.
Is 1/3 the mass, but I think it's close in size. It's less dense though.
Okay. Okay, because gravity is based on mass, not just size, right?
Yeah, so gravity on Mars is about roughly 1/3 it is on Earth.
And the moon is 1/6 of Earth, or 1/5 or something? Okay.
Yeah.
So he would be less bouncy than the moon, but still.
Yeah, so I mean, in reality, like, if you went to Mars, you can jump. Like, I actually just saw not too long ago, like a graph or like a graphic. Someone had made like an animation of how high you could jump on each planet. And I think it'd be like the Earth, it was like a couple feet, the dude jumping, and then on Mars it was like 6 or 7 feet. Like, you could probably jump 2 or 3 times as high.
All right.
But it's not like you could jump over a mountain. You could just kind of like, but back then they were like, you could do anything with this much strength.
Sci-fi is more fun when you treat it more like a fantasy thing.
Yeah. But I mean, so with the him bringing chains, the whole thing, like, if I were to tell you, make a chain to hold a baby.
Stop. But they
and then put it put it on a human. Or put it on a human. Put it on an adult, like a very strong adult. That's strong, then try to chain the Rock up with your baby chain. He could break the chain. But it would be perfectly sufficient to hold even the strongest baby. All right, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Because it does seem like later they're like, all right, we got to treat this guy like one of the giant monsters we have to chain up sometimes. Yeah. So they're like driving stakes into giant. Here's the thing that kills me about chains later on when he's like trying to pull the chain out of the rock.
Yeah.
It's very clear that he could just undo the loop.
We saw that too. We were like, hold up.
This has bugged me every time I've watched this movie, and I can't get over it because it's so man. And then he's just like puts it into the ground and steps on it, and then the chain just disintegrates and it's gone and he's free of it. And I'm like, what happened there?
Goodness.
What happened? So yes.
All right.
The chains are inconsistent.
Okay. So John Carter's with the Martians, tries to escape. They're like, "No, we gotcha. We want you to be like our dude." And they're fighting over him, whatever. And then there's a ship in the sky, and it's like, oh, there's like a ship battle. The humans are fighting, and then there's a princess lady. Really, from John Carter's perspective, there's just a lady who's about to fall off the ship. John Carter's like, time to spring into action. Got to save her. So he jumps real high, catches her, saves her, and immediately becomes whipped. And I was upset about this. Once again, it's the same thing where he's like, I don't care about anybody. I just want to be free. And he's like, who are you? A random person I'm supposed to care about? All right. I'm doing whatever. Now, whatever you're doing is what I'm doing. And that's what happens. I didn't like it.
But because you loved
even Willem Dafoe, who was a Thark, is like, oh, what about her? She's got it. You're here to save her or something. He's like, all right, whatever. Whatever to get the story moving along. That's fine. So yeah, there you go. I don't know what my next note means, so it's fine. So do they go on a quest? They decide to go on a quest then?
Yeah.
To find something?
So they defile a temple.
Oh, yeah. Because they sneak out and they've got the person supposed to be minding them, the Thark lady.
Yeah.
And so they go to a temple and are like, oh, sweet, that amulet thing you got, it's one of these. There's these alien dudes.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll figure it out from there.
Okay, my next two notes are this. Taylor Kitsch never made it out of this movie, like his career-wise. And then my next note is Lynn Collins. She plays the princess. Never made it out of this movie. Like they're both in X-Men Origins. They're both in this, and that's kind of like the high in their careers.
Oh, I take offense that this is John Carter's, or not John Carter, Taylor Kitsch's high point. All right.
What is it?
Oh, there's a high point, Scotty. There's another high point.
All right, tell me about it.
But see, the one that I'm gonna call the high point, first off, came out the same year, just like another movie this guy was in. 3 movies in 1 year.
What?
But it's on the list. It's on the it's in the machine.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to know the movies in the machine?
I don't know. Should I?
It's Battleship.
Oh my gosh. Battleship's in the machine?
Yeah. You know it is. Cody, they throw pegs at him, okay? You think that's not going to be in the machine? Rihanna is in that movie. Her first and last movie. As far as I know.
She's in Ocean's 8. She's in that one movie that Childish Gambino did.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. Fine. Okay, fine. Okay, this is production stuff, so we're not going to talk about it till later, but I'm putting a little star by it. Yeah. Okay, we're talking about, yeah, so they're going on their journey or their adventure. I don't know. Basically, John Carter's like, all right, lady, I'm whipped, so I'll help you with your thing. Mm-hmm. And she's like, if the city, what's her city's name?
Helios.
If Helios falls, all of Mars falls.
How dare you?
All of Barsoom falls. Which I didn't understand the logic of that. Because
there's only the 2 cities left, Cody.
Oh, but what about the Thark?
Nobody cares about the Thark. They're basically Indians. Nobody cares about them.
They did say the planet's Mars isn't a dead planet, but it is dying because of whatever. But I guess the whole thing hinges on, I don't know, whatever. I guess I just didn't understand why, like, if Helios gets taken over, don't do it. What are you looking at? Just
the fact. I'm sure you have the facts about the director.
No, that was my note. I'm circling back to it.
Okay.
So don't.
I'll let you do it.
You get out of there. It's not time.
I'm trying to find the name of the other city because I don't remember it to save my life. All right.
It doesn't matter. It's on Barsoom. That's all that matters. So here's what. Okay. Don't go down the hole. I want to take you down the hole.
I'm in the plot stuff now. You're fine now. There's no worry about it.
So anyway, John Carter's job is to be with the princess and to save Mars. When did they kiss? It's like way too soon.
Wasn't it after they did the River Is thing?
Yeah, it must be. So they're doing the River Is thing.
And they're in the map.
Here's what I didn't like. John Carter's like, hey, Thark lady, who like is getting branded and beat up all the time because everyone hates her because she's the worst. It's like, your dad sent us or something. Basically, the thing about the Thark is no one has any parents. It's all just a scramble because they're just a tribe, you know. Yeah. They're all. And then she's like, oh, that's your dad. Willem Dafoe's your dad. And she's like, all right, I'll do whatever you want. I'm like, what is that? John Carter just pops up and is like, I can tell you two are related.
And because he's got a father's intuition. Also, I think she's like, oh, it is played like, oh, how I didn't know.
It moved her so much, but why?
But
he's at the same time, stranger. He's an absolute stranger.
But also, he said, like, he's like, how do you? John Carter's like, she's your daughter, isn't she? And he's like, who told you? You know, grumble, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, her mother kept her egg. So him and his mate, spouse, wife, life partner, raised this being from the egg. So she has to be at least somewhat aware that that's her father.
That's not how the Thark do it.
It's not how the Thark do it, but that's how they did it.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't make any. I didn't understand it was like an appeal to emotion that shouldn't have been there. It's fine, whatever. All right, so they go to the map room and they learn about, like, I think they finally realize, like, oh, we're on Mars. I'm from Earth. Get it? Like, okay, cool, got it.
Oh, they do that before though with the rocks.
Whatever. Oh yeah, so that happened.
They're counting. Also, 9 planets. This is scientifically inaccurate.
Love it. I love it. There will come a day. Pluto will make a return. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Everybody's like, what about this ghost planet that's bigger? If I can't see it, it doesn't count. Okay?
Yeah. That's the way planets work.
If there's a planet 5 feet from me, but I can't see it, that don't count as a planet, Cody.
Yeah.
I look down, science. I can't see the Earth from here.
Yeah.
So the Earth does not exist right now.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, there's a fight. I don't know. Whatever. He's got to defend everybody. There's a metal sword that makes a slapping sound. Oh, John Carter's like, all right, you know, Mark Strong's alien character gets another horde of Tharks to come and chase after him.
Yeah.
So John Carter's like, I'm gonna stay behind. You guys go ahead. I'll fight him off. Blah blah blah. I'll buy you time. He like slaps. He uses a sword.
The flat of the sword.
Slap. It didn't make the right sound. That's what I'm saying.
It does. Because it
makes like a wet fish sound.
Yeah. There's the difference between the slapping like with a hand versus with a metal flat thing. One's much like higher pitch, sharper sound.
That was the edit. Which is fine. One part of this movie I did like. I did think the montage connected with me.
Oh yeah, that was
like
cool.
So he's fighting off the Thark. But it's cut flashback to him trying to fight for his family before his family dies, or as
it's him going back and like burying his wife and everything.
Yeah,
I thought that was
that's cut, which I was like, oh, that part really worked.
Yeah,
you could see. I was one of those things you're like, oh, this is really smart, good filmmaking.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm so happy we agree on this part because this is without a doubt, hands down, the best scene of the movie.
Yeah, I would agree. It really did work. So he buys them the time. He gets captured by whatever the bad country, tribe, village, city is named. Oh, and their whole thing is that the leader of the bad guys, is trying to marry the princess from Helios to unite them.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So that's
classic stories. You know, no, Cody. Not whatever. Classic.
Here's my problem.
Yeah.
John Carter's captured. He's like, I'm whipped. I gotta save the princess. No. What are you looking at? Don't do it.
It's like everything I read. Maybe it's Helium is the name of the city.
Yeah.
City.
That sounds about right.
Helium. So let's pause. Let's re-record everything.
Let's get a few clean heliums in there. Helium.
You know I'm not gonna do it.
You're not going to cut out me saying helium and paste it over the other ones?
No.
Oh.
I didn't do it with Apocalypse Now. I'm definitely not.
Oh, I know you didn't.
I let you say so many racial slurs instead of editing it because I just gave up.
Okay. Here's my problem.
Tell me your problem.
John Carter's captive. He's like, I got to save lady. And then a dude comes in and is like, I'm here to look at the prisoner, blah, blah, blah. Here's what actually happens. The dude that comes in is like, John Carter, here, take me hostage. We're going to make a scene. I'll help you escape. That's what he's trying to do. In my mind, this dude looks exactly like the villain, like the leader of the bad guys. In my mind, they're identical. Like they're both tan dudes with like kind of short curly brown hair, very similar costumes. And so I'm like, why is this guy in here? Like, shouldn't he be able to walk right through his guard? It's his prisoner anyway. And I didn't realize until like after the scene, I was like, oh, this is a different dude who looks exactly the same. I was like, every human in this movie looks the same, except for like the dad and the princess. I'm like, I can pick you out of a crowd. Everybody else, I'm like, your costumes, your tan, your hair, you all look the same to me. I couldn't distinguish anybody from anyone. It's driving me crazy. Like, this is too much. I can't do it.
I know I could recognize that guy really well now because he's one of, I guess I'll say, major characters in the first season of Altered Carbon, the Netflix show that I like so much. That I was like, oh yeah.
Fair enough.
I like this guy. I think I like him a lot better in Altered Carbon as like a villain type character.
Well, he looks just like the villain in this movie, so.
But he's a much better actor.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I get that. So let's see. John Carter leaps to where the princess is.
Oh, I found another name of the city. Zidanga.
No.
Helium and Zidanga. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Helium. If you told me those names can be any more different, what is that?
Because helium, here's what will kill you more. I'm pretty sure helium is supposed to be like a reference to the sun, not the element helium.
All right.
Right? So, but you're like, all right, so what's the other city going to be? Is it going to be like Lunestra or something dumb, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's the city of the sun, city of the moon. Or is it going to be like kind of sound like another element. And he's like, what about Zodanga? I like that. That's the other name of the town.
So yeah, no, they don't quite connect, do they? All right, well, that's fine. So John Carter jumps all the way to what's-her-name's room, and he's like, I'm here. And she's like, oh, I want it so bad. And he's like, but...
Also, she's like, he's like, oh, you look beautiful. And she's like, it's a bit, what'd she say? It's a bit vulgar for my taste.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, there's more clothes than you've worn the entire movie so far.
So what's the settlement? Is John Carter's like, you're not just going to go back to Earth? Or is that what he says to her? Because the bad guy's coming.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the agreement they reached, but he's just like,
there's no agreement.
You gotta just marry the dude, I guess, or whatever.
I think.
Oh, because she's gonna cast the spell or whatever with the amulet, so he can just go home.
Yeah,
that was what she was gonna do. But then he doesn't finish the spell, but she doesn't know that.
Yeah, right? He jumps.
So she's like, all right,
like
I guess I'll marry the dude. Okay.
Basically, he's the Hulk.
Yeah,
because that's the Hulk's thing is he jumps.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he gets done. He's like, all right, now I can do stuff. And then Mark Strong rolls up, and his whole thing is he can disguise himself as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So he's taken him prisoner and is like, does the thing where he explains the entire plot of everything he's trying to do, which is, I'm just like, why is he telling him everything?
Yeah, but this is, on Mars. I was going to say about the book, but I was like, I don't know if he does it in the book because he's not in the first book.
Yeah. So that's my thing. It's like, if you just made it like, oh, 2 warring cities, a princess, and then there's the Thark and John Carter, it's so much simpler and cleaner. I feel like you can really track it. And you really do complicate it by being like, all right, Mark Strong is actually the puppeteer behind everything. And he's a prominent part of moving the plot around.
It's almost like the guy who wrote it as an allegory for the Civil War and the Native Americans as 3 sides of one larger conflict.
Oh. Is that is that really what he wrote?
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's supposed to be like the 2 warring factions. Like it's a civil. They even call it a civil war.
Having to decide to take a side or whatever.
Yeah,
interesting. Because he was a Confederate guy. Now he's got to try to get on the right side of history.
Yeah,
or something.
What do you mean? He already was on the right. What are you talking about? Cody, it wasn't about that.
Oh yeah. It was about tea taxes, right? The South was taxing the North for tea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what's up.
That's what was happening.
I know history.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Mark Strong tells him the whole thing. Yada, yada, yada. John Carter's back with the Thark. I don't remember why. John Carter goes back with the Thark. Does he go to appeal to the Thark?
Yes. To get their help.
But then Willem Dafoe's not the leader anymore. He's been deposed by the other dude.
Yeah, by
one horn.
Yeah.
He's got 1 chin horn.
He's got one. Well, one of his horns.
1 tusk. Off. I guess a tusk is a better name.
But they do call him one horn.
Let's call it a chin horn. Okay, there's no longer tusks. Okay, elephants have 2 chin horns on either side.
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. But yeah,
so he gets thrown in jail. Willem Dafoe is in jail, and he's like, "Don't worry, I did all the good stuff." Willem Dafoe's like, "You did what? I'm gonna murder you." So anyway, they're in a Star Wars Episode 2 style death pit.
Yeah.
To the death, which is cool, whatever. And here's the best part of that. You got the daughter Thark lady, and you got the mean lady who's always mean to her. And they're in there in the fight. And in the fight, I was like, whatever, this is going to be fine. But then the Thark daughter lady knocks herself and the mean lady into the pit. And I was like, here we go. Now we're going. Now we're cooking. Okay. I was like, that's the way to do it. Okay. If you're going to get vengeance on somebody, boom, throw them in the giant white ape pit. Yeah. I did like that they were always referencing, like, is he like a white ape? What is this dude? Whatever. And then later they're actually like, oh, anyway, here's a white ape. I was like, oh, hey, that's cool. I like that he got to fight the white apes. Here's my problem with the scene, though. So all that was leading up. I was like, all right, this is getting interesting. I wrote down, this is another instance where he's like, sometimes he's strong, sometimes he's just a guy, because it's the chains thing again. We've already talked about it, I guess.
Yeah. Which that's why I was like, those chains look like noticeably thicker than the chains they'd used in the past.
Fair enough. But they do have a mechanism where you can kind of just loop it off. We don't do that, okay? That's fine.
That's too easy for him.
That's true. So there's some fighting. They release I really like that the leader guy is just kind of like slumped down. He's like, this is not going away. We'll release the other ape. I don't know. Yeah. I was like, no, you're having fun. It's such as like you're supposed to be like, release the Kraken, like release the second ape. He's like, I don't know. Get one out there. My day's ruined. I was like, all right, whatever. Here's the thing. So John Carter is a strong boy. He beats up the apes. I don't remember how. He does jumpies. Great.
Yeah.
Fine. Then John Carter's like, all right, I want to challenge you for the throne. One tusk, one chin horn, one horn.
Yeah.
And he's like, who will pledge your steel to mine? That's it. They've done that before in the past, and everyone's like, woo, we like Jump Man. And so they're going to do the fight. And I was ready. I was like, this is going to be the coolest fight of the movie. They jump up like anime style, where they both jump up. And John Carter murks this dude. One blow. I was like, that was way too quick. I was mad about it. I was like, you're going to build up this whole scene to this, and then it's just kind of over. Even Bailey was like, what is this? She said that. Here's how this scene went. John Carter jumps up, slices the dude in half, and it's over. And she's like, what is this? Then it cuts to the princess in her dress, and she's like, oh, it's shiny. That's literally back to back. What is this? Oh, it's shiny.
That's what it is.
So
you've described what it is.
It's the bad dude. He killed Willem Dafoe.
He didn't kill him.
Or whatever.
Oh, yeah. He beat him up.
He sentenced him to his death. And we're just like that. It should have been the climax of the scene. Instead, I didn't quite get the payoff one from the white apes. And then that wasn't that good.
It's like
actually bad. Because it was just like, oh, he's dead.
Here's what I hated about it was I think they made in the jump scene, the sword was just a little too heavy for what's the actor's name? John Carter, to whip it up real fast.
Oh yeah.
So he was just kind of like like weak wrist flicking it. And I was like, this is first it looks like if you had hit him, you would have smacked him on like the shoulder with the flat of the blade.
And it would have made us like a fish slap sound. Oh man. Yeah. No, I was so mad. I was like, how are you? We're in a death pit. We're in Mortal Kombat. Okay. This is a Coliseum style gladiator fight to the death. And you're gonna do a one swipe death blow?
What I think would have been better. Let me pitch this to you.
Pitch it.
You do the same thing. They jump up, they both land. Right?
Yeah.
And then he turns around and his other tusk, his one tusk is now gone.
Nice.
And then they do like a fight, a little fight.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be long.
Doesn't have to be a crazy big fight, but we gotta have some struggle here. He deposed Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
He's leading with Thark. He's not a pushover. Yeah. So I think you're right.
But John Carter's so strong.
Yeah. So John Carter gets everyone. He's like, hey, we're gonna go to Helium. We gotta all band together. We gotta go stop this wedding or something. I'm whipped. Okay, so that's his pitch.
But they're going to Zodanga first.
Zodanga. They show up at Zodanga and they're like, no one's there. Yeah. Like, you went to the wrong place. He gets a smack on the head. I was like, isn't Zodanga a moving city? And wasn't Zodanga at Helium?
No.
All right.
Here's the thing. If my wife wants to know one fact about it, was the smack in the original book? That's all she needs to know.
It's such a throwaway joke that it's like, I want to say it wasn't. Because that's the other thing. When that happened, I was like, so what? We just went through a 30-minute sequence of him fighting the ape, deposing the leader, doing the thing. So the army was useless? Because I don't know how far Helium is from Zodanga. And so I was like, we just spent a lot of time building up to him having control of this army. But they do catch up to him. Yeah. So it's fine.
But the Thark don't fly.
Oh, that's the thing, is they're going to take Thark to fight. Except for then they do.
Yeah.
And they had a good time.
They don't fly except for when they need to.
Yeah.
Then they do fly.
John Carter's out here breaking all the rules.
That's not how they do
it. What does she say? Okay, that's the other thing. Because lady pops in, one of the Tharks pops in, like crushes a bad guy or something, and is like, it is good to fly. And then like it cuts away right away. I was like, wait.
Yeah.
You planned for a bit, and then you rushed the line so quickly. She's like, it is good to fly. And like next thing I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. She's on like one of her little scooters.
What are we doing here? You're gonna have a bit. Give it a nice 1 second or 2. You can't just like fling it in there. Fine. Okay, so that happens. I don't know what this is about.
Tell me the thing. Read it. Tell me.
Someone throws the medallion away.
He hucks it after the battle. He yeets the medallion.
Oh, okay. So the battle is won, right? And John Carter's like, we did it. We stopped the naughty boy. I'm the good boy. Princess lady, do me right here. Let's do this marriage thing and let's do it.
No, let me say this right.
What?
They have established that there is Mark Strong plus others.
Yes.
But it's just Mark Strong morphing into like 15 different people during the fight.
Yeah.
So they're like, he could be anybody. Anybody.
Yeah.
And he always picks the most conspicuous person to be. And it's like, dude, just be a dude.
Yeah.
And jump off the cliff.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, just run up, yoink that medallion, and teleport away.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Don't be like, give it to me as John Carter.
Yeah.
Just be like, just go and take it.
I agree.
What are you doing?
I agree. I did think, yeah. So they win the battle, and he's like, let's get married right now. They get married right away.
Right away.
Like, sippy. They sip the cup. They do the sippies on the cup, the moon cup.
They sip the sacred moon juice.
Sip the sacred moon juice. And John Carter's like, don't need this anymore. Gets rid of the medallion or something.
Yeah, after he can't sleep, he throws it.
Because he's like, I'm staying here. I'm John Carter Mars now.
Yeah.
I got a Martian wife.
Just like, okay? I'm Lawrence of Arabia now.
This is me. This is me now, is what he says. And he throws it off the balcony. And then Mark Strong's like, oh, lol. And he's like, sends him back to Earth, right?
Yeah.
I was like, bruh, John Carter, you had one lesson to learn. And it was at the very beginning. You're first sent to Mars and you don't grab the medallion. Then you need the medallion the whole time. You get the medallion and then you get rid of the medallion. That was your lesson. There was one lesson for you to learn. I guess 2. Number 1, don't care about anybody. Just pick a lane, okay? No, or do care about it. Just pick a lane, all right? Which I guess he figures out, right? He decides, I'm whipped by Martian lady.
Yeah.
Second lesson, keep the medallion. It is very precious.
Yeah.
Immediately gets rid of it, immediately gets sent back to Earth. Here's the thing.
Tell me the thing.
I'm not digging the Martian lady. I'm not digging John Carter too much. Like, they're, at least in terms of their chemistry, I'm like, this is fine. Whatever. It's not great. By the end, I think I had bought into John Carter. At the beginning of this movie, I didn't like him. I didn't like the actor. I didn't like the character.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, I was like, you know what, John Carter? You're pretty cool. All right? You won me over. I think you figured out your character a little bit. I think you're acting a little bit better. This is good. But then they kick him right back into Earth, and he has no way to return. And that one is when I was like, oh, this is cool source material. Like, this is a cool twist. But here's the problem. Here's my problem.
Tell me the problem.
We get back to Earth, and now we're in a mad dash to finish the movie. And that's what I didn't like about it. Is I was like, you know what? We had the Mars adventure, and now we're back on Earth somehow. I'm like, well, how is he going to get back? Is he going to be able to get back? What happens now?
Mm-hmm.
But they just push through it so fast. Like, it's like 5 minutes until we get to when he gets sent back to Earth with no way to get back and the end of the movie. And I think it felt super rushed and it didn't work. Do you agree?
Yeah, but also, I mean, like, him being like, I searched the world and then I found it and then I went back to Mars. And they probably have already murdered me in the time it's taken you to read this story. And then they do that. And he's like, cool, got it. Thanks for bringing it to me. I'm going to peace out. Do some stuff with your life. Don't just protect me for the rest of your life, but protect me. Don't let me die. But don't just do that. Do other stuff. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
It's over. And it's like, I get it was fast. It felt rushed. It felt unnecessary. It felt like you didn't need the part where he's like, psych, I didn't have the medallion.
I agree.
Or you only needed that part.
I agree. Okay. I really like the idea of the twist.
Yeah.
But you really would have had to work in, because it really does push where it's just like, all right, so I got rich on gold and I did this and I searched over for it and I got people the suit, found out I'm here, I'm in the thing. Like you said, the nephew's reading the journal and it's like, all right, they may have already found out. So you gotta, and I was like, what? Nephew, you're dumb. Like you fell for the bluff immediately. You're like, well, I gotta rush and open up the thing and not check to see if anyone's watching me. He was bad at it. But I know that was the point.
Yeah.
Daryl from Spy Kids, you're gullible. And anyway, the whole thing is John Carter is like, I didn't have a medallion. I just wanted one of Mark Strong's people to go try and get you so I could shoot him, take my medallion. That's how I got first.
Which he knew that guy was following him. He could have shot that guy and taken his medallion at any point.
I don't know, man.
He could have just whipped around real fast and be like, oh, bang.
I thought it was
paid Kevin to shoot the guy. He's like, hey, there's this creepy dude in a suit. I'm gonna go around this corner. He's gonna follow me around the corner. When you see the guy go around the corner, that's the guy you need to shoot.
Yeah.
Could have had the medallion 9.5 years ago.
Yeah. I love the idea of the twist. I have some logistics questions.
All right.
At one point, they're like, oh, I'm John Carter. I'm not really on Mars. I'm a carbon copy of myself on Mars. They say that, right?
Yeah. A telegraph. The height of technology.
So he needed to be alive on Mars so that he could be alive on Earth so he could stay alive on Mars?
I think if they destroy I think the whole thing was like if they destroy his body. Again, this is stuff that's like, this is the kind of thing that's brought about and revealed probably 6 books into the series.
Yeah. And okay. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay. So, yeah. What? Here's my other problem with this. So they finally like, he's going to make it back to Mars. I'm finally invested in their relationship. Let's see. Did she wait for him? Did she run off with some other hoe? Because that's what I thought was going to happen. They don't even show their reunion. They're just like, made it back to John Carter, Mars, roll titles. Cool, huh? It's like, no. I finally cared about the romance. Get them back together. I just wanted to see them reunite.
Yeah.
Some of the things they chose to spend time on and didn't made me mad. And that was one of them.
Yeah.
Even Bailey said, I'm mad about that at the end of the credits. That's what I thought. And here's the thing I read you tell me if this is true, but I think in the book, what happens is he sort of has like an out-of-body experience in the cave at the beginning of the movie and like reaches for Mars, and that's how he gets to Mars. It's not like I held a medallion, got transported. It was like, oh, I ethereally transported to Mars.
Yeah.
Which
the medallions aren't a thing, I think. Yeah.
So in the book, does he get sent back to Earth and has to go back?
I don't know. I read the first little bit of it, man. I don't know.
I don't want to have to read the book to know, but I have to know. I want to. Okay. So anyway, that's fine. Now let's talk about the production of this movie.
Give it to me.
Okay. You saw a little bit about the director. I'm sad I don't get to blow your mind with this fact, but I will share it for the listeners at home.
I will say I've seen this fact. It blows my mind every time.
Andrew Stanton was a director. Okay. He also directed Wall-E and Finding Nemo. He's a Pixar guy.
Yeah.
Academy Award winning director, right? Movies he's done have won Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Disney was like, hey, you want to do this live action movie of this book that you loved? And he's like, yes, always, of course, I would love to. Like, awesome. Do you want to have complete directorial control? Yes, I would love that. Great. Do you also want to have control over all of marketing? Yes, I would love that. Do you want your own like production team of other people that have only ever done animated movies? Yes, I would love that. And this is where the disaster starts. Okay. I will note, Andrew Stanton has not done another live action movie since this one.
Yeah.
But he has directed Finding Dory, which is pretty good. And he's directed some of my favorite TV shows. Better Call Saul, Stranger Things, and Legion, which is excellent. I've only seen the first season, but it's excellent. Super good. So he knows how to make good things. And he has since learned how to make really good live action stuff. He's just done it in TV.
Yeah.
This was just the disaster in the middle of his career. So part of the problem was that, they gave the studios only done animated stuff a live action movie, which is not the end of the world, but it really seemed like he was like, I was working with my people and we were all from animation and none of us had ever done live action. And he's even like, at one point we were like, is it just me? Or do we know how to do live action even better than the live action guys? It's like, I had that thought. And he talks about how he's like, oh, I was just mad with power, I guess. Because part of the problem with this movie too, why it didn't do well, is that it was not marketed well. Because they were like, all right, here's the thing. And normally I don't always agree with marketing for movies because, they kind of mess things up. They send it to the wrong audience. I was just amazed that they were like, oh, you're good at directing movies. Do all the marketing, make all the marketing decisions too. Because they were like, all right, what should we call it? Princess from Mars is the name of the book. There's like this cult of fans that love the book. It's a beloved book. Should we name it that? And it's like, well, I don't know. Are people going to like that? Probably not. And plus there's like this Hollywood thing where it's like, movies with the name Mars in it don't do well in the box office. Remember Mars Needs Moms from like a year ago? That was like the biggest Disney blunder until today when they released John Carter. It's like, let's not call it that. I'm like, oh, how about John Carter of Mars? Because it's a movie about Mars and, it's about a guy named John Carter. I thought, that's okay. Still has Mars in the title. We'll just call it John Carter. That sort of explains the plot, right? It's like, oh no, people who read the book are like not going to be happy because they're like, oh wait, I don't even know why you're not going to call it A Princess on Mars. And now people who don't know what it is have no idea what it is at all. So that was a problem. That was part of the problem. Yeah. So that's the gist of kind of like what happened with it. We're like, okay, this guy didn't quite know what he was doing with live action. Had way too much on his plate.
What would you have called the movie?
I thought about this.
Okay.
A princess on Mars or Princess of Mars. I think
it's a Princess of Mars.
Princess of Mars.
I got it right here. So
I may have just done that. I mean, you could add a tagline too, right? Like it could have been John Carter, A Princess from Mars, or A Princess from Mars, a John Carter story. You know what I'm saying? Something like, if you were really trying to sell the John Carter sequels, maybe you could have done that. I would have just kept the book title.
A Princess of Mars?
Yeah. I know it's not the best, but like at least you're keeping the fan base of the books and you're saying, hey, well, we're going to keep true to the source material. Because at the end of the day, you're going to need to make concessions. But if you're making this based on how good the source material is, you got to stick to that at some point, right?
Yeah.
Which they didn't do.
Yeah.
What would you have called it?
Well, the only thing my knee jerk would have been just keep the book title. Because like you said, there's such a strong base there already of people who are going to go see it just based on the title. If you go with the book title.
Yeah.
Because at the time this movie came out, the book had been out for 100 years.
Right.
So there's like people whose great grandparents introduced them to the book. Kind of like several generations of fans for this.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. Is like you could, when you're making the trailer, you're like based on the beloved sci-fi novel.
Yeah, which they didn't do. I remember
which they didn't do. Yeah, or that was part of the problem.
The only other thing I would have done is maybe if you call it Barsoom, but then it sounds like it's a foreign film.
Right. Yeah. I think that was the other part of the problem. I think they were like, we didn't have a lot of the stuff done to put the right things in the trailer. Or I think too, they were like, I think the director was like seeing some of the trailers. He's like, I don't want those shots in the trailer. And so he pulled a bunch of stuff out of the trailer. So the trailer was like too vague. And I think like, oh, by the final trailer, we had like the right things in there, but it was kind of too late. Like we kind of missed the window to get people excited about the movie.
Yeah.
So just like Andrew, where normally I would say, oh, please let the director, have some feedback about the trailer. In this instance, he did get to do that and made all the wrong decisions.
Yeah.
Just like, he's not the marketing guy. Because if you think about the movies he's done A Bug's Life, Finding Nemo, WALL-E. He's always had the goodwill of Pixar, where it's like Pixar is this machine. At that point, Pixar had not missed yet. They had not made a bad movie.
Yeah.
Leading up to Wall, like they were still in like, we're doing great. We haven't had anything bad come out. So it's just like anytime there's a Pixar movie, everyone's gonna go see it because there's already been 2, 3, 4, 5 good Pixar movies.
Are you insinuating that there has been a bad Pixar movie?
Yeah, Brave. There's been a couple. I haven't seen The Good Dinosaur. I've heard that was just okay.
Yeah, I would say that's the only one that's got a flop. Brave is beloved by a lot of people, and
they're wrong though.
But most importantly, children love it.
That's fine. That's fine for an animated movie. That's fine for DreamWorks. We're talking Pixar.
Yeah, but Brave is a lot of
Cars
people like Brave.
Okay.
A lot of people also like Cars.
I'm saying I don't like Brave.
Yeah, I was saying I think they missed on you, but I think as far as
I enjoyed Cars at the time, I don't enjoy it as much now. I don't know. I think also Cars 2 ruined Cars for me.
They went hard on Cars. There's so many. They got planes now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw one of those. I had some nephews that were super into the Cars-averse. So like all the plane stuff, they were all
like
about
a whole verse, you know.
So okay. Anyway, this movie, so you hear about like development hell, where it's like a movie where like we would love to make this and it just never happened. Like Dune has always been one of those movies where like it's Princess Bride was one of those movies like, okay, you're never gonna make a good movie out of this. And everyone's like, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it. This movie may set the record because I think they said it spent like 70 or 79 years in development hell, because this movie, they considered making it in the 30s, and which is only what, 20 years after the book came out.
Yeah.
And it was going to be the first animated movie, feature film. It was originally going to come out before Snow White did. So it was going to be the first feature-length animated movie. And then that didn't happen. In the 50s, Ray Harryhausen, the guy who did like Clash of Titans, the originals, all those.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to do like a claymation version of it, where, he does like all the action is claymation and there's live act, he was going to do a Harryhausen version of this, which would have been super cool.
Yeah.
And it bounced around like that for years and years and years. And then finally it got made. I think the rights bounced around here and there too. So Disney like got the rights back in the late 90s or early 2000s. And that's when it was like, hey, Andrew Stanton, let's peg you to this. While they were filming, they did a lot of filming in the Utah desert. Mm-hmm. They found a 60-foot sauropod, like dinosaur bones, while filming. And like archaeological societies came in and like took it over and stuff. So that's kind of cool. I don't know what a sauropod is, but it's 60 feet long.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there you go.
I was confused about something. This is a little bit back from the plot. So Bryan Cranston is in the cave with John Carter. And John Carter gets transported to Barsoom. And then at the end of the movie, John Carter gets sent back to his body in the cave.
Yeah.
And Bryan Cranston is a skeleton.
Yeah.
How much time has passed?
That's what I think. So this is why I was thinking why like maybe something if he does get sent back. So this is all if it's in the book or even if it's not. So whoever came up with the idea of that, this is my thought on their thinking. Time passes faster on Earth than on Mars.
Interesting.
In this link thing. So
so all the time he spent trying to get back to Mars would only have been a little while.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because it takes a while for a human body to go from alive to a skeleton.
That's what we were talking about. We were like, that is pretty far. And Bailey was like, well, what if like scavengers got it? Like, vultures or something, like really picked it clean? Like maybe.
But also he wouldn't be just sitting there like that.
Right.
He'd just be sitting there looking at him.
Yeah.
You can tell that guy died. Bryan Cranston died looking at him.
Yeah. Okay, some more trivia. Mars Princess Lady. What's her name? What's her character's name?
Her character name? Oh, gosh. I was looking up sauropod. Give me a second.
Princess. Well, tell me about a sauropod, though. What is it?
It's like a long neck dinosaur.
Nice.
Like those dinosaurs? Yeah. All right. Deja Thoris.
I'm going to call her Princess Lady. Princess Lady. She has all like the Marsy tattoos on her.
Yeah.
In some shots, you can actually see they did like a hidden Mickey Mouse tattoo in that pattern somewhere. Just like, gosh, nice. Disney, you would.
Right on her boob or something.
Nice. So I also read this. In the book, the natives are nude. Now here's my question. Which ones are the natives? Is that Thark or the people?
Probably Tharks, right?
Okay. How did the people get there?
Magnets.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to read all 11 books in the series, but I was very confused.
Well, I think they're both natives. Here's the thing. In the books, from the little bit I read of the plot thing there's the green natives, which are the Thark.
Yeah.
And the red natives, which are the people.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Whatever.
So I think they look more human, but I don't know if they're supposed to look fully human.
Yeah, that's fine. So here's another thing Andrew Stanton kind of messed up. He did the thing that we all do, where you're like, you know what? We need a fresh face. Like, all right, I got a $250 million budget. I don't want to have some big name movie star that's going to draw in a crowd. I want a no-name nobody to be John Carter and the Princess. And I think that's the other mistake he made.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's a great idea if your movie is like $50 million to $100 million budget, where you're like, look, this isn't a crazy big budget. We want to... It didn't make any sense for me. I'm thinking back to the other like successful Disney live action things. And it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, Keira Knightley was already around, and Johnny Depp was well known, and Orlando Bloom had just done Lord of the Rings. Like, you could have got someone early career maybe, but instead you pick people that I didn't think were that good for the role, and nobody knew. So it's just like, okay, you didn't uphold the original book and the original title. You didn't have a good trailer prepared or good marketing strategy. You didn't, all the people whose names you might know, Willem Dafoe is an alien. He's not really a crowd drawer. He's a great actor. Mark Strong, good villain guy, not somebody who's going to draw you in to see a movie. I was like, what was going to get people to come see the movie?
Well, I think
a great trailer would have done it. Maybe a big star would have done it. The right marketing strategy or a good title.
Yeah.
No one knew what it was. No one knew who was in it. It wasn't drawing on the fact that it's a classic, book everyone likes.
Yeah.
It just really seemed like it had a lot of whiffs where it's like, no wonder you didn't have a crowd for this.
It does seem like you think about how, like, I'm trying to think about how he approached this film versus how someone like how Denis is approaching Dune.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he's like, Frank Herbert is a genius and I'm just trying not to get in his way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to take all of his good stuff and put it on the screen how he saw it in his head.
Yeah.
The best I can.
Mm-hmm.
Not changing stuff, not messing with stuff. Just do it. Best. And then there's the guys that do it like this, where he's like, this dude is an idiot. I'm the smart one. So we're going to rip all this stuff
Finding
out.
Dory. Yeah. I can do this.
This guy wrote a book like 100 years ago. Nobody cares about him. He's dead.
Yeah.
I'm in charge now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that is interesting. And another note, they were considering during the development of this movie in the 80s, they were considering doing it. And they're like, let's get Tom Cruise to be in it. Can you imagine instead of Legend, Tom Cruise is like, no, I'm in the Barsoom series,
Oh yeah.
Whole thing. So that was, we're talking Tom Cruise, John Hamm, Taylor Kitsch. These are not names on the same level as far as like, oh, this is a bright young star. This is a recognizable name. It's just
Taylor Kitsch. He did get a lot of like those big budget action movie roles right around this time though. So I think he was someone who's well known in Hollywood, but not like
he's not
audiences didn't care, but directors and casting liked him.
I didn't think he was great though.
Here's what I think. I think he's a great person for if you need someone to be like, if you need a generic white dude, like if I was making like a D&D movie, where they're like, let's take one of these classic stories that they've written and let's make a movie out of it. And I was like, I need a fighter. Taylor, you're my fighter. Because you can be like, you're just a classic generic white guy and you can nail some funny lines, but you're not going to go too hard on anything, but you're just going to say your line and be done with it.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
That's what he's best known for.
Yeah.
So like he started Friday Night Lights in the original series. Okay. Got it.
So.
Yeah.
That's what I think he excels at. So I thought towards the end of the film, I was like, I think he's into it. I'm into it now. He's doing better. But yeah, towards the beginning.
By the end, I didn't know enough about him, and I was just like, what are you trying to do? Why is your voice so gruff? You're like too scrawny of a dude to like have the big gruff voice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not that he's like, I mean, he's built. He's got not built, but he's got a little definition. He's like a strong dude. Where they're like, oh, he was a cavalryman. But it wasn't playing the way it needed to.
It's the kind of thing like if you were making this movie now, you would put like you cast like Wonder Woman as like the princess.
Yeah,
right?
Gal Gadot. I learned how to say her name.
Tell me what you
Gal Gadot.
That's what I've heard too.
Because we've been doing Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
I just saw somewhere recently. It's Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. And then some people who are wrong will say Gal Gadot. But if you hear her say her name, she always has the T.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, cast her as like the princess, and then you get like one of the white superhero guys is.
Yeah, I mean it would be like Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth.
Get a British guy or not.
It would be a Chris.
Yeah, a Chris.
You would get
Chris Pratt would be good at it.
Pratt would have been good.
Could nail
Even
it.
Pine. I think Pine would have been good too.
Yeah. Pine or Pratt. That's who I would go with. One of the
Pine
P's. One of the CPs.
Yeah.
I go with one of them. Because they could
interesting.
nail the southern charm better,
Right.
I think. Although it would be funny to see Chris Hemsworth try to do the southern, the slight southern accent and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this. He's Australian.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Tiffany made me recently watch what's that movie with Rebel Wilson in it? That's about the love. She's stuck in a rom-com and there's Liam Hemsworth in it.
Oh yeah, isn't it romantic? I really like that movie.
Yeah, but it's him switching between, like he switches between American and Australian.
Oh, between like the reality and then like the romantic comedy version.
Yeah.
When it kind of swaps those realities. Yeah.
And the reality, he's American, right? And he's just like, I'm not Australian. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
It's like, you are Australian.
Oh man.
That's
So I mean that's John Carter. I'm so sad. And like I said, Legion is a great TV show. People love Better Call Saul. I've only seen a few episodes. I do intend to watch it one day. And I mean, Stranger Things is great. I love Stranger Things. And it's not even like, oh, he did a couple episodes. I think he's directed almost every episode of Legion. He's directed like 50 episodes of Better Call Saul. I think he's done most, if not all, of Stranger Things. So it's just like, bro.
Yeah.
This guy knows what he's doing now. Just is anyone going to give him a big budget movie again for live action?
The only thing is TV and movies, big budget feature length movies are such a different beast than a TV episode. Nothing has accentuated this more to me, or it's shown the case this more to me than. Do you ever see the movie Skyline?
No.
It's the only movie I have started and never finished.
Wait, is that the one with The Rock?
No.
Okay.
It's
like
one
the sci-fi alien one.
Yeah, where they like
aliens
the blue light steals your soul or something.
Okay.
Point is, the director, like every single person from all the actors to everybody involved in it, they're all people who were TV people.
Oh yeah.
And it's atrociously bad.
Yeah.
It's like they plan everything in 30-minute segments.
Yeah.
And they get to the end of it and they're like, we had no plan after this.
Yeah. I mean, I get that, but what I'm saying is like, Andrew Stanton's doing like movie quality. He's doing premiere TV. Legion, great. Better Call Saul. People say it's as good, if not better, than Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
Stranger Things,
like that one.
Widely beloved. It's like one of the best Netflix shows. As far as the ones I've seen, like I think it's like held up its quality really well.
Yeah.
And those are very different vibes. Legion is like a gritty, more real life kind of superhero movie, but it's like psychedelic at times. Stranger Things is like, all 80s, capture the ET vibe,
Yeah.
Channel that together. Better Call Saul is like, okay, can we make like a slightly more lighthearted version of Breaking Bad? And he did it. Like he's adapted those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I bet he could do it now.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. He probably, I think that's probably what people are thinking is like they're different. So you're good at one and bad at the other.
Yeah.
Probably what everybody has in their mind.
When really it was just like he needed an assistant director or producers that were live action people instead of just saying, hey, you're in charge of everything. Yeah. This is your first time doing live action. Not even like a big budget, like the biggest the budgets get.
Yeah.
And he needed like everything.
He needed that EP to come in when he's like going nuts and be like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop what you're
doing. Pull it back, change the casting. Let me take over marketing. You focus on shooting, like something like that. Okay, I guess my last question for this one would be like, who worked on this script?
Everybody.
Because I think it was one of those that had a few names. So Andrew Stanton has his name attached on here. That's just Andrew Stanton, Mark Andrews, Michael Shaban.
Yeah.
Chobani. Okay. Basically. And then the guy who wrote the book, of course.
Yeah.
For source material. So
that second to last name, that was just some guy delivering yogurt to the set. Stop. And he's just like, I think you should do this.
No way.
I don't know.
It's the same writer for Brave. I do not like.
Also, I verified this. All those are rated well. Wow. So it's really just you that has a problem
Brave
with
is
it.
Bad.
But it's rated above.
Brave has a 69 on Metacritic. So for Pixar, that's a little low.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. This guy wrote one episode of Powerpuff Girls.
What is Shrek
5
4?
episodes of Samurai Jack, Jack Attack, John Carter, Brave, Circle of Stone, which is a short. So he's not a great writer. He's not like making. How dare
you watch Jack Attack and tell me he's not a great writer?
Jack Attack is great. Okay,
it's the best.
I'm not putting him in charge of a 2.5-hour sci-fi movie. I'm saying. I'll let him write a short.
If somebody came to me and they're like, "Hey, I did Jack Attack," I'd be like, "Here's $1 billion. Do whatever."
Stop. Okay, the other writer, the third writer. Here's what he's doing. He did Star Trek Picard. Okay,
which is apparently very good.
Yeah. A lot of TV, The Mysteries of Pittsburgh, Spider-Man 2, Screen Story. So he's written a couple novels that have been adapted. This is one of the only screenplays he actually ever did. Whereas because that one he's credited as a director for Picard.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. It's kind of a hodgepodge writing team.
Yeah.
Kind of all over the place. So I don't know. I'm surprised by this movie. Just that,
are they? I mean, there's a lot of.
Stanton has only written animated stuff. He wrote basically every other Pixar movie for the last 10 years, and John Carter. So,
like you said, I think it came a lot from this is Pixar at its peak, probably.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, this is the guy that's been in charge of the last couple really good Pixar movies.
Yeah.
And Disney was like, all right, you can do no wrong. And this is the movie that taught them, okay, you can do some wrong.
Right.
So maybe we don't do this.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't just let you guys loose on a couple $100 million.
And they have never done that since. Yeah. And if you look at Marvel, it's like Edgar Wright, who is a guy who can do great live action movies, things based on comic books, yada, yada, yada. Edgar Wright, but it has with them doing Ant-Man, and he left halfway through, which is a shame because it's like, well, you can trust Edgar Wright for a live action piece way more than Andrew Stanton. I don't know if I trust Edgar Wright doing animated stuff based on the lessons we learned from John Carter, but it's kind of a shame where you're like, gosh, they gave this guy the blank check, they gave him the directorial control, and they've regretted it ever since. But okay, what happened with Lone Ranger then? Lone Ranger was the same story, right?
Yeah, budget to income or budget to box office wise, very, very similar. Like they barely made its whole budget back.
Lone Ranger was 1 year after this.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think they had 2 or 3 flops in a row, and they're like, okay, we need to have a lot more. We need our creative staff to have more direct control over these movies because these guys are messing it up.
The guy who made Lone Ranger, his top 4 credits are Rango,
which is good.
Which I've heard is good. Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, pretty good. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. So he's done a couple parts.
Which is good.
And the 2016 movie A Cure for Wellness, which is like a trippy psychedelic indie movie.
Yeah, it's like a psychological horror or something. Yeah, I wanted to watch it so bad.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen. I haven't taken the time to watch it yet, but it does look like one I want to see.
It's intense. So this guy's all over the place. Directed The Weatherman with Nick Cage.
Oh,
did he direct The Ring? This man's everywhere.
Yeah,
he's amazing. He directed the movie Mouse Hunt, 1997.
I've always, whenever I see those kinds of directors, I always feel like they're guys who are really good at not messing with the script too much. That's why they're all over the place, because they're just good at executing on what they're given from a script.
Right.
So if you give them a good script, it's going to be a great movie. If you give them a bad script, it's going to be a bad movie. Like they're not going to save a bad movie, but they're not going to bring down a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a hard thing. Because Lone Ranger, I saw it once and I didn't pay attention to it very much. It just kind of seemed like a boring movie, not like a really bad or poorly made movie. It was just kind of like, this is the Lone Ranger. You guys should have done something.
Yeah,
different.
Well, they cast it better because Armie Hammer was the Lone Ranger, which is a great choice.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp was Tonto, which is a very questionable choice.
Very questionable.
Questionable because Johnny Depp is not Native American, but good because Johnny Depp was great in Pirates of the Caribbean. So it's one of those things you're like, well, you made a mistake, but I see why you thought maybe it could have worked. Here's what's really cool about the guy who directed Rango.
All right. Give it to me.
Won an Oscar, Best Animated Feature Film, Rango.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 years later, he won a Razzie for Worst Director, The Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
The highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
I think the Lone Ranger, it might have been beaten out by now, but I think at the time it got the record for the most Razzie wins in a year.
Really?
I think so, because I think it got like worst director. I'm pretty sure Johnny Depp got worst supporting actor.
Right. I mean,
and like worst writing and
in terms of flops, like some of the most famous flops include like Waterworld is a classic one, where it's like enormous budget, did not make any money back, and was not considered very good.
Yeah.
John Carter's one, and the other I know in recent history is The Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
So the other one.
So two of Disney, and then because the other one's Universal, isn't it? Waterworld's Universal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember who did Waterworld, but
yeah, because it's got that's the big show at Universal, which I think there was a whole thing where I think they said they made their money back on the movie off of the show.
It's funny,
but I think there's a documentary. I wish I could remember it about like how the show came to be, because they're like, we have this set, and we made negative millions of dollars on this movie.
Right.
We have to make it profitable. Let's make a show out of it. Mm-hmm. So they that's how it like started.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. Like there's a whole documentary about it. But
wow.
We gotta do the real thing, Cody, here.
All right.
We gotta do the real important stuff.
Is it time for the machine?
It's time for the machine.
Well,
unless you had more stuff.
No, I was just gonna say, is it time to revisit Pacific Rim, or are we gonna wait till that pops up again?
It's on. It's gotta pop up again.
All right. Okay.
It's on there.
I'm fine with that.
Let me make sure that this is, because I recently went through and checked out the machine to make sure everything was all gravy in it.
Oh yeah. I do think I'm ready for you to make a machine for the Cody movies. With one exception. There's one we have to watch next.
Oh, okay.
But after that, I'm ready. I'm ready for the machine.
All right. Are you ready to do the thing?
Do the thing. No. Is it? Stop. What is it? Is it Pacific Rim 2?
No.
What?
The next movie. It doesn't even fit in the box. It's too long.
Tell me.
Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie, Pyramid of Light. Which was one of the movies that I sat there and stared at, like a list of 30 movies, and this won out over the other 30. I'm glad it wasn't.
It's going to be a time warp for me, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! Did
you go see it in theaters?
No, I did not see the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie.
I have not seen it, I don't think, since I saw it in theaters. So it's going to be real fun. But I remember it being amazing.
I think the last one, I did see the Digimon movie in theaters.
Yeah, you did.
And I think I saw the first Pokemon movie in theaters, but I did not see the Yu-Gi-Oh movie in theaters.
I'm gonna go through my cards. I'm gonna try to find my Egyptian god cards, which are worth a couple $100 a piece. The blue, red, and gold guy.
Oh wow!
I had the blue and the red guy.
Nice.
I almost bought the gold guy, but it was like $170.
Did I have one of those at one point? I might have had only one of them. I don't remember. I did Yu-Gi-Oh for a minute or two. Wow!
Man, all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I can't.
Gosh, remember like the absolute awful PlayStation game for Yu-Gi-Oh? It was so bad. There was like a really bad video game for. There's also a really bad game for Digimon on PlayStation I played as well. All right. Let me tell you, if you had made me guess 1,000 times what the next movie in the machine would be, this would never have been it.
Do you want me to hit you with a couple random, just ones from the machine?
It's up to you. I mean, this is your machine.
Let me hit you with some random ones, just so you're prepared. You know, I just want you to know, because I want you to understand the caliber of things.
Okay.
Lincoln.
The Steven Spielberg movie?
Yes.
I don't want to watch that again. Don't make me.
8.5.
Is it the sequel to 8 Mile?
No.
No.
Hitman Agent 47.
Oh no.
Not the Timothy Olyphant one, the newer one.
Oh gosh, okay.
And then Battleship's on there.
Oh my gosh. 8.5. What even? How do you spell it? 8.
Look on HBO Go or HBO Max. Do you have that app on your phone?
I don't know.
I'll show you afterwards. We'll go over it. But yeah, I mean, just yeah.
All right, I'm making a machine then because I need. Yeah.
Pacific Rim 2 also.
Stop.
It's right there. I'm looking at it.
Last thing, John Carter. Probably don't watch it, I would say. I would say read the book.
Yeah. I would say like...
I could make a really good trailer of this movie. I bet.
Yeah. It's one of those movies where if you want just kind of a... It's a movie that came out in 2012 that's like a generic Disney movie. Like,
yeah. It is better. I mean, I've seen Mortal Engines. I've seen Jupiter Ascending. I've seen this. They're all kind of similar vibe. I would say this is the best of those three.
Oh, yeah, by a long shot.
I would never watch Jupiter Ascending again if I could ever avoid it.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't see Mortal Engines again.
Yeah, I would.
But,
yeah.
I mean, of the three, this is the best of those, I guess I would say. And it has the best scores. Like those other two are like down like the 30s or 40s. This one's like a 50 or 60. We're like, yeah, it's not awful.
Yeah.
It's not great. It just has potential.
It's a good popcorn movie, not a good movie.
Yeah.
Like just sitting, chilling, hanging out.
I want to listen to the dulcet tones of Willem Dafoe crossing his arms and putting his hands on his hips at the same time. Like, I guess this is the one.
I will say the fact that they're Pixar people really comes through in how well the effects hold up.
The Thark people looked great. The little pit bull guy, when he was in trouble that one time, I was like, no. I was about to turn off the TV. I was like, if they kill the best thing about this movie.
Tiffany told me I have to make one now. I have to, and I was like, we're gonna get a pit bull and a salamander and just smoosh them together.
I'm glad it gave me that. That is something.
Yeah.
So don't watch it, but thanks for listening. You can review us, share us, Opinion Havers. You can also yell at us on Twitter @Opinion Havers, Facebook @Opinion Havers, and on Instagram @Opinion Havers.
Oh,
I have made 0 posts. I have done nothing with. I don't even know what I could do with it, but you know what? I snagged it. I snagged @Opinion Havers, and I did it for us. I did it for you.
I'm so proud of you.
Nice.
I canceled the subscription to that paid social media that I had because I was like, I don't want to pay $5 for something no one's gonna do.
Yeah.
So
now we've got Instagram for free.
Yeah.
That no one's gonna do.
Yeah.
We'll see. What do I even do with it? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, watch movies
and have opinions.
What is an Instagram for a podcast do?
You could post about John Carter.
I could post thirsty pictures of
the abs,
whatever his name is.
He got nominated 3 times for Hottie of the Year.
Did he ever win though?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
He got beat out by much more famous guys. Not hotter guys, more famous guys. Here's the thing. You're wondering what is the strength? He's Goku. That's what he is. He trained in the heavy gravity.
Oh. I see. No pointy hair doesn't count.